Excellency Vladimir Makai, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Belarus. Excellency Sergei Lavrov, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation. Honorable Ministers, Excellency Isabel Durant, Acting Secretary General of UNCTAD. Heads of international and regional organizations. Ambassadors Blackman and Ambrozevich, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is certainly both a pleasure and an honor on behalf of the government and people of Barbados to welcome you to this very important high-level conference, which we are pleased to co-host with the government of Belarus in partnership with UNCTAD. And I therefore take this opportunity to thank Foreign Minister Makai for our joint efforts which have borne fruit today. I also want to express thanks to Foreign Minister Lavrov of Russia for agreeing to be today's keynote speaker, and thank both Ambassador Blackman and Ambassador Ambrozevich for their collaboration in the preparation of this event and for moderating today's proceedings. Today's meeting is of utmost import, and I must also express my sincere appreciation to those participating heads of international and regional organizations who are well placed to recognize the importance of interregional integration and collaboration in the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. This event is both timely and historic, coming at a time when my government will be hosting in October the UNCTAD 15. Barbados is acutely aware that as it pertains to both the trade and development agendas, the year 2021 carries significant importance. With the conference slated for October, in circumstances where this will be the first global UN conference after the UN General Assembly in the post-COVID-19 reality, colleagues, how we rethink, retool, and respond to global socio-economic challenges will therefore be even more critical than at any other time in our history. The global socio-economic architecture, which has been modeled largely in a post-World War environment, must therefore become fit for purpose for 21st century realities. The challenges that existed pre-COVID-19 have certainly been magnified, with new challenges emerging. We in the international community are in a position where, as we seek to rebuild the global economy, we must try to guarantee that many of the inherent vulnerabilities and inequalities, particularly for developing nations, are confronted. We must ensure, as far as possible, that all critical resources, financial, technical, and otherwise, and mechanisms are used to confront these challenges. The need, therefore, for us to critically examine and strategically realign the roles that regional integration can play in this regard is of critical importance to the government of Barbados and ought to be for the international community. Whilst historically we have seen regional integration projects as mechanisms largely to facilitate trade and the attainment of harmonization of policies, standards, and benchmarks, as well as to facilitate intra-regional travel amongst signatory states. Today's realities behove regional blocs to undertake two things, namely, one, to enhance our outlook by collectively responding to the many challenges we face, and two, to deepen our partnerships interregionally. There can be no doubt that both inter- and intra-regional trade and development should be used simultaneously to facilitate and stimulate growth. As we rebuild the global economy post-COVID-19, we must also relook the mechanisms upon which the regional blocs are established, so as to reflect today's ever-changing complex realities. Firstly, we must ask, are they fit for purpose? Secondly, are they strategically responding to the needs and objectives as outlined in the agreements? And thirdly, and more importantly, for the purposes of today's conference, are they effectively allowing member states to attain the targets and global commitments of the 2030 Agenda? To this end, each objective of every regional bloc should of necessity be aligned to the relevant and appropriate SDG, where both the secretariats and member states alike monitor the implementation of these targets in a measured way through the lens of the 2030 Agenda. It is also recommended that a regional bloc SDG implementation monitoring mechanism or index be established, perhaps to work on collectively by the world's regional integration movements, the UN system, and the WTO. The major opportunity for us, however, lies within our ability to bolster deeper partnerships and cooperation on an interregional basis in ways that hitherto have been driven by circumstances and not by design. This will allow us to utilize interregional approaches in addressing climate change and vulnerability challenges of member states. The question of closing the capacity gaps in production of critical areas for development should be of paramount consideration. As we currently witness the critical need for member states to have the capacity to provide their citizens the necessary health and safety resources, interregional trade facilitation must be explored whilst ensuring that this is done in ways that honor members' WTO commitments. While we may be tempted at first glance to seize the moment of interregional trade as a natural default in restarting the global economy, from an SDG perspective, many of the goods and intellectual property that are needed in the areas of technology, health, and the environment are in surplus in some regional jurisdictions, while collectively short in others. As such, there ought to be the exploration of an interregional inventory that allows for regional groups to share in an open, transparent, and regulated manner. This will require many of the regional and international organizations here today, supported by the expertise of UNCTAD, to create a virtual real-time mechanism that allows for members to access these goods in a timely manner, whilst ensuring that members' international treaty obligations are maintained. Finally, the sharing of best practices in SDG attainment amongst regional blocs must be used more. I, however, strongly implore that this should in no way be seen as or used as a mechanism for unilateral coercive measures. The strength and objective of the multilateral system must be adhered to more than ever before in this regard. It is therefore very clear that today's high-level conference must invariably play a very critical role, not only in shaping the dialogue on these critical issues, which will be ventilated during the UNCTAD 15, but also should be used as a roadmap for further engagement in the international rebuilding architecture with an interregional implementation approach to the attainment of the SDGs. I want, as I close, to once again thank the government of Belarus, as well as UNCTAD, for its partnership in hosting this conference, and I look forward to the deliberations and outcome emerging from today's discussions as we forge ahead towards UNCTAD 15 and beyond. I thank you.